Hey guys, I want to talk about this movie that I saw in Greenpoint, Brooklyn. So I went to New York to watch the movie Beau is Afraid, but after I saw the movie, I was just so energetic because I was so excited after I saw the movie. I just wanted to watch more movies, so I decided to make a trip up in Brooklyn. From where I was, I think it was in Manhattan. I don't know exactly where the Lincoln Square Theater is. I didn't really. That was the first time I've ever been to that movie theater, but I made my trip to. I think it was in Manhattan, and I made my trip to Brooklyn, to the Film Noir Cinema, and I love going to that place. It's like a mecca for me. Like mostly is a lot of bootleg movies. Like so, there's a lot of obscure films that aren't really available physically. So this guy would just hook you up. He'll be like, hey, this movie's not anywhere. If you want, I'll make you a burnt copy. It's like $7 to $10. But he was playing two movies. He was playing a movie called Black Magic, and it's a Hong Kong horror film. Um, and it's basically that's kind of the movie. It's a lot of black magic going on. There's no kung fu fighting or anything like that, like we people in the states expect. But that was a great movie all within itself, and I feel like in the future I might make a review of that if I get editing. If I get my editing game up, because it's sort of like there's some things in that movie that I really wish to um, articulate in a way, but also show visuals for you to understand like what I experienced in watching Black Magic, because I feel like I wouldn't give it justice just talking about it. But at the same time, I feel the same way about the movie that I saw that I'm going to talk about right now, and it's called Street Trash. It was made in 1987 in Greenpoint, Brooklyn, which was so novel for me to watch this movie being in Greenpoint and watching it with people that live in Greenpoint. And the movie's not really all that complicated, but it's so much fun. What it is about is just it's like a group of bums that live in a junkyard, and there's like different sectors of bums. Like there's this like ex ex army guy that lives like in one of the hills, like the highest points of of the junkyard, and then there's these other guys that live like in this kind of bunker that they created in the junkyard, and they're all living amongst each other in chaos because they're all bums, and they're kind of fucking crazy, and they kind of fuck each other over, and there's a lot of funny, really fucked up scenes. But it's just funny the way it is because of how so unconventional they are being homeless. um and I really can't tell you watching this movie if these people were actually homeless or not. Like this movie has such a grainy and just such a grindhouse look to it that you just wonder, because a lot of like if it's not really homeless people, then the makeup is incredible. The acting is absolutely fucking incredible. There's a scene where a black dude's coming in into a supermarket and stealing all this food, and it's so fucking funny. And it's just in the middle of the movie where a bunch of crazy shit happens, and it just kind of let's move on and just go into this. You know what I mean? Um, Man, I wish I could edit this into a nice review, because like there's a lot of things that I wish you could see. But the reason why I'm talking about it is because I'm going to be putting a link in the description, and the full movie is on YouTube, and I really want you to experience this movie. I wish you could experience it in the theater like I did, because I saw a really pristine print of this movie. It was perfect. It was clear. Being shot in 1987, it looked like it was shot yesterday, and it was Greenpoint, Brooklyn in the 80s, and a lot of people didn't know, and even people that lived in Greenpoint, Brooklyn did not know that Greenpoint looked like a war zone. Like a lot of the areas in New York City looked like a war zone, and it's because a lot of the housing issues that New York had. There was rent control. And not only that, there was a lot of slumlords, a lot of people that couldn't afford the properties that they owned, so they had to demolish them. There's a lot to it. There's a lot more than I could even understand. I'm not really that into housing and economics and stuff like that, or the history of New York City to a whole, but there was a rough time for New York City where it was like really literally like a bad place to be in, especially in places like Times Square, where it was riddled with porn houses and things of that matter, peep shows and a lot of drugs in the streets. A bunch of generational trauma definitely came from New York City, and it has affected my family personally as well. A lot of my parents in general, and my uncles, my aunts, they lived in New York back in the 70s, and they've experienced a lot of the things that have happened in this movie, in a sense of just being out in that landscape and living their lives. Um, But anyway, I want to talk about the story of this movie. It's not really much story except for there is this alcohol that a clerk, or at least a store owner, like a convenience store owner, brings in. It's a bunch of case. It's like a whole case of just liquor, and it's called Viper, and he sells it for $1. A homeless man steals it, and he's about to drink it, but he doesn't drink it because the dude steals his booze. And there's this really awesome scene where the guy that stole the booze is in the toilet and he drinks it and he fucking melts. There's something wrong with the booze, and not until later people start realizing what's going on with this thing, and they keep that secret and they start using it into their advantage, getting rid of people that owe money and shit. It's fucking insane. This movie's crazy, and I don't know. I just want to recommend it. I hope you guys at least take a chance and hit in the link below and just experience in this movie yourself. And if you ever find a theater that's willing to play this movie in 35 millimeter, if there is a print out there to show in that fucking great fucking aspect and great definition, like, I think you should watch it, you know? Because I don't know how many prints of this movie is out there. Like, personally, I don't think I saw it in a great print. In a film print. I definitely didn't see it in a film print. I saw it in a digital print, but it was a digital print that was taken from that film print, and it was upscaled to like a 2K or 4K, a 4K look. So I saw it. It looked really clear, perfect. But on YouTube, I don't know if it's gonna be the same for you. I hope that it does if you have a TV and it's able to upscale it. But I really can't promise you that. But watching this movie, regardless, is worth it. I really recommend it. If I'm gonna give it a rating personally, if I'm gonna do a review on this movie, I guess I just really wanted to talk about it. I'm gonna give it fucking 8 out of 10, man. Like, it was just a really good time. It's a great movie. Please watch it. If I was part of the Psychotronic Film Festival in Philadelphia, I would curate this movie and really recommend it to people. Out of a lot of a number of movies that I would recommend this one, and I would hope that people at the Psychotronic Film Festival are familiar with it. I'm sure they are. Um, but yeah, that's it. That's all I have to say. I'm just gonna cut the video right now and let you watch. I hope you enjoy.